good afternoon, everyone. Good evening or good morning, depending on where you're watching us from. You are welcome to our career development series that we've been starting here at Career Next Level. So today we're going to be deeping dive into the topic of interviewing, and we're going to be talking about how to ace your interviews in 2025. Interviewing is, a very integral part of the recruitment process when you are looking for a job. So it's not about just being qualified. A lot of recruiters and people hiring managers like to set up interviews to get to know the candidate, see how qualified they are for the job they are applying for. So the way you handle this interview, and the way you present yourself is very important in how you are going to get the job. So in the bid to encourage everyone to be the best version of themselves and have all the tools that they need to ace interviews, I decided to put this topic together. And as I always do, I try to bring people that I know that are experts in this field that can help me do justice to this topic. So today I'm going to be bringing up a particular colleague of mine. We worked together when I was in quick delivery, and I know he has a lot of experience when it comes to job seeking and interview preparation, LinkedIn, and all that. So when I thought about this topic, I felt like he would be the best person to do justice to it. So that was why I said, okay, once I'm having this, I'm going to bring him on. So let me just tell you a bit about his background. He finished from the University of Lagos. He has worked in um, a various industries, and most especially, he has worked in logistics and has about 12 years experience in logistics. And most recently, he just had his master's degree in logistics from one of the top, logistics institution here in Nigeria. And so he has very vast knowledge when it comes to interview preparation, career, and all that. So I felt that he would be the best person to help us do justice to this topic. So without further delay, so that we can go deep into the topic and we can get all the insights that we need, I would like to give the floor to my co-host, Jumi Falade. Jumi Falade, thank you so much for coming on to our career development series to come and share your knowledge. So you have the floor. You can go ahead and share your screen and let us see what you have for us today. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for this platform. I really appreciate you for what you're doing, and you know, this what you're doing. I know some people collect thousands of naira, you know, just to do this you're doing. But I really want to appreciate you. I also want to thank you for giving me this privilege to come. I'm not taking it for granted. Thank you so much that you deemed it worthy for me to come and speak with people on this your platform. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I really appreciate. So let me go to our session proper, and let me share my screen.
Oh, okay. Excellent.
Okay. Today we're basically going to talk about how to ace interviews in 2025, and I would like to say this before I go into this. Looking for job itself is job, and not all CVs make it to interview stages. And if you're opportune to get an interview stage, please take it like your life depends on it. One of the things I've seen over time is that when people are called for interviews, they take it with levity. They're not so serious about it. But please, I want to beg for you to stand out among the other candidates. Please, you need to take it seriously. And that's going to take me to what we'll be discussing about. The topic says how to ace interview in 2025. And the first thing I'll talk about is research. And that's why I wrote research, research, research. Many a times when people are going for interviews, they don't research about the companies they are going.
Right.
Can sorry. Okay, so many a times when people go for interviews, they don't even research about the company that's scheduled them for that interview, and they go there when they're asking questions about not just even the company, the industry. Many a times we don't even know what to say, and that's why I came up with it that we need to first research the company we are going into. So let's take for instance, you saw an advert maybe from, I don't want to use the banking sector because if I'm going to ask about the banks, you can talk about fellow banks in that industry. I don't know that we know the difference between companies and industries. Company is a company that called you for an interview. Industry is the other companies within that space. So let's fintech is an industry. Ride hailing is an industry. Uh, QSR is an industry. I'm looking for, just mention. And when I talk about QSR, we know about quick service restaurants, just like Chicken Republic, The Place, Sweet Sensation, name it. They are all in an industry. When you talk about ride hailing, we talk about Uber, we talk about Bolt, you know, that's ride hailing industry. Banking industry, can talk about the banking industry, can talk about communication is an industry as well too, MTN, Airtel. But many a times when we go for those interviews, we can't even talk about competitors within that industry. And when the company calls you for an interview, you need to research about the company. And that's why I would, before stepping into that interview room or virtual space, immerse yourself in research, understand the company's history, know the history of the company, know their values, know the recent news. Some of them know, in fact, know to the extent that maybe they just raised funds or not. Know all those things, and their industry position, where they stand within the industry. That can really help you and guide you towards the interview process. It's also equally crucial to delve into the role you're applying for. Also know the role you're applying for. You can even make research to the extent that the person that left that role, you can boss that person. How is this role? I want to know what are the challenging factors in this particular role I'm applying for. I just saw this role from your company. I saw that you're the last person that occupied this role. I want to know what were the challenges, what are the things that you experienced. That can also help you during that interview, and we actually help you to also ace that process. Craft your narrative. When we go for interviews, is as good as selling yourself. And there are some people that when you talk within first 3 minutes, when they don't find what they want, they will, in fact, they will not ask you too many questions. I've done that too before, at the point of interview. And when I see that this person is not giving me what I want, I'll just quickly round up the interview. I don't want to go further, as I don't want to stress myself, because let's take plus or minus and give you 15 or 30 minutes at just for me to have an interview with you. And maybe the first question you're not answering well, second question you're not answering well, I won't go further with the third interview. So you need to sell yourself. And that's why I say craft your narrative, prepare your elevator speech and pitch, a concise summary of your professional journey, highlighting key achievements and strengths. When you're going for an interview, when people are asking you questions, or when you say you should introduce yourself, there's no need for you to start with primary school. I attended also primary school. People go as far as I attended also primary. I don't. Nobody cares about the primary school. It starts with the last, your last qualification, your last certifications. That's what you start with. I'm a master's degree holder. In case you don't have masters, I'm a bachelor's degree holder. You talk about that, and you talk about your achievement. It's not the task you're doing, but what you achieved in the role. So let's take for instance, okay, you're a logistics manager, and someone is asking you, okay, just give me a brief summary about yourself. Tell me about. You don't need to tell the person that presently I lead a team of this. No, you talk about the achievement of what you've done. As in, okay, when I joined this company, they were struggling to place, to deliver at so rate, and you tell them that in the bid of joining, I've been able to actualize that. I've been able to do that. I've increased the order rate to about 50%, the LT rate to about 10%. That's what those people want to hear. They want to know what you've done, your achievement. They want to know your strengths. They want to know what your strengths is. They want to know what your weakness is. And when you're crafting your narrative as well, so you need to practice it until it feels natural. Don't you need to practice it at home, at your quiet time. Just try to practice it so that it becomes natural. It just flows. So they will not know that, they will not see that this person has rehearsed everything. Let it be natural when you're doing your interview. So craft your narrative, sell yourself well, be concise, talk about your achievement, talk about your strength as well too. The next is anticipate and practice common questions. Please practice common. Like I said, looking for job itself is job. And when you get the opportunity to get an interview stage, please and please take it like your life depends on it. Don't take it with levity. Like I said earlier, don't take it with levity. Don't just say, it's an interview, I know what to say. No. Funny enough, let me give you another instance. You can be applying for the same role at different companies, and the interview stage will be different. As in different questions, they'll be asking you different questions, and you'll be like, what? And you'll be amazed. One of the things I do for myself, I do, or let me say, one of the things I do is this: if I go to an interview and after answering some questions, after answering those questions, I take those questions back. I go and rehearse those questions so that in case I'm called for another interview, I'll be able to, because I've gotten because they've asked me some questions. Maybe I couldn't even, I'm not struggling to answer, and I know that, oh, maybe I did not do well in this interview. I did not do well in that interview. So I'll go back. I'll rehearse those questions myself. Maybe Google, do a lot of research. Then when they come in for another interview, I answered those questions very, very well. And I'll give you an instance. I'll give you a scenario. I remember when I was in Quick, I did an interview, and the guy asked me. I won't forget. The guy asked me, "What's your management style?" Sincerely, sincerely, I struggled. Sincerely, I couldn't even answer. I couldn't even answer. In my mind, I just told myself, guy, you failed this interview. I said, this interview did not do well. But you know what? Since then, anybody that asked me about management style, it was easy for me to answer because someone has asked me that question and I failed in that question. So I went back, we asked those questions. The guy asked me, and anytime anybody asked me about my management style, it's easy for me. In fact, if you wake me up, if that's my management, I will tell you my management style. So I've been able to, you know, take some learning points from different interviews and rehearse and practice. So he says, in addition to standard interview questions, prepare for behavioral and situational inquiries. There's something we call STAR. We talk about situation, task, action, and results. People want to ask about your behavior. They want to ask, behavior situations and also, and sorry, behavior inquiries and also situational inquiries. So take for instance, people want to know, especially those that are adjusting for mid-level roles. People want to know, how did you handle conflict at your present role? You can't tell them that there are no conflict. They want to know what were the steps, what were the things you did to handle conflict in your present role. They want to know your management style. If you are because obviously if you're a mid-level manager, you'll be able to that means you're leading teams. They want to know the management style. They want to know whether you're autocratic. They want to know whether you are someone who they want to know whether I'm trying to remember a particular word. They want to know whether your kind of leadership, you carry people along. You know, they want to know all those things. They want to know that, okay, in terms of situations when things happen, when social things happen, what were the things you did? They want to know all those things. And some people want to even know your day-to-day experience. That, okay, when you get to work in the morning, what are the things you do? How do you coordinate your team? How are you someone that when they gives you feedback, you flare up? Or are you someone that when they give you feedback, you're someone that you don't want to listen to feedback because this person is your support? They want to know all those things. So some companies do that, and there's not how you go for an interview, especially when you're a mid-level manager, that they will not ask you all these questions. They want to ask you, star, like I said, star, they call it star, star situational questions, the task you do, the actions you do. When there are issues, okay, what are the things you do? What are the things you do to resolve those situations? Your result. What are the things you achieved when so thing happened? Like, I'm going to use logistics for example. One of the KPIs that I know about logistics is OTIF. We call it on time in full. Now, let me give you an instance. So they will ask you, okay, in a situation whereby maybe before now you were using two 3PLs, that's third party logistics. You're doing two 3PLs, and maybe your orders was about, maybe let's say 20. You can actually use two 3PLs very well. Maybe those ones are running two vehicles, and you can use them very well, because of the orders you have. Now they ask you that, how do you handle surge in orders? How do you handle when your orders increases? What happens? You're able to give them things. You'll be able to you want to know whether you can actually think out of the box. They want to know whether you are flexible to change. You don't want to know all those things. Because some people are very rigid. Some people don't think out of the box. It is what the structure says, and they don't. And because of what the structure says, they're not ready to task their brain. So they want to know all those things as a leader. So that is why you anticipate, practice common questions. The next is mastering the interview. You need to master in online versus in person. I want to also say this. There are times whereby people go for interviews, and let me start with virtual, and you'll be disappointed. Let me put for instance, because you're doing a virtual interview does not mean you should be casually dressed. I'm going to start with that. Does not mean you should be casually dressed. You see people, Because the virtual interview, see people singlets, they be putting on singlet because it's a virtual interview. People don't put shirts. You see people because it's a virtual interview, t-shirts. Some people are their hair, in fact, the, their hair is unkempt, as in not combed, and because it's a virtual interview. No, because it's a virtual interview, you need to dress. Now, let me say this: there are times many of us, which I won't, which, when there are times many of us, you can wear a nice shirt and maybe you are putting on boxers. People don't, they don't want to know that part. But as long as like you are seeing that nobody knows what I'm putting on under. You don't know whether I'm putting on pants, you don't know whether I'm naked on that, but you're seeing so that's how we should be dressed. As we should be neatly dressed. And one of the things we should also do, maintain eye contact with whoever is interviewing us. Another mistake we make is this, and I do that for myself, irrespective of who is interviewing me. Some people, some companies, some people will not even do a video of themselves. That's the people interviewing you will not do a video of themselves. But please, I want to say this. Please, at any point, do a video of yourself. Do it without them even asking. I do that myself. Do a video of yourself so that you can actually, they can see your facial expression, and they can actually see your body posture, your body language, and everything. That will also help you. So you need to maintain when, in case the person also turns on his video, you need to also maintain eye contact, look into your camera, exhibit positive facial expressions, ensuring your posture exudes confidence and when you are confident, it gives you how will I put it now? It puts you it gives you um when you're confident of yourself, there's a way it places you in front of the people interviewing you. So you need to exude confidence, and that is really, really crucial. Test your setup beforehand, ensure a professional and distraction-free background. Like when we started now, there was a noise at my background, and the host called my attention to it. But when you're doing an interview, please ensure that there's no noise. Ensure that you're confident of yourself. Ensure that there's no distraction. Look for a quiet place where you can actually do that interview. If it's that you run into your car, I've done interviews in my car several times, and I'll just tell them that sorry, where I was noisy, and I had to come into the car to, and the person is fine with it. Let me even give you, when I was coming in too quick, my first two interviews were in the vehicle, in my car. And they understood, and they told them that because where I am is quite noisy, and I don't want any distraction. And that's why I came here. And it's fine. A sensible person will understand that because you're running away from noise or you're running away from any distraction, you can actually be in work, and someone, because most times when we are doing interviews for another company, we try to dodge and go into a quiet place. And if you're doing an interview, people might not know that distractions upon distractions can come in. So ensure that you're in a quiet place so that you'll not be distracted. Technical preparedness, that's for online interview. One of the things you need to do is also ensure that everything is okay. Your video, you're sure you're sure that your video is okay, your network is okay, everything you're using, your laptop is okay, is well powered. It is your phone is well powered. Everywhere the light around you is very, very okay. So online interviews demand technical proficiency. Familiarize yourself with interview platform. Another thing is, please familiarize yourself with interview platforms. We have Google Meet, we have Zoom, we have Microsoft Teams. So familiarize yourself with all those things as well too. There are a lot of people that don't even know how to use all these gadgets, maybe because they are used to physical interviews. But please familiarize yourself with it. When you see that there's a virtual interview a day before, test that platform. Obviously people will not join, but test that platform in case you've not used it before. And in case you've not used it before, also talk to people maybe that are tech savvy that can actually also help you out, set you up and ensure that everything is top notch, so that you're not you know so that you're not you know once there's a little issue, you can actually lose your confidence. When there's a little issue, you can actually be distracted, and you'll be agitated seriously. So being comfortable with technology minimizes sorry, is anyone sorry, can you mute? So being comfortable with technology minimizes potential disruptions during the interview. Another thing is adaptability and engagement. Adaptability and engagement. In an online setting, adaptability and engagement are pivotal. Be prepared for potential technical glitches and show adaptability if they occur. because it's technology, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And you know, when there are issues, you should be able to bounce back. Glitches will happen. Technological glitch. In fact, as we are on this call, it can actually happen. But the bottom line is, don't get agitated. Don't feel bad. And when you get yourself back, you can actually, you'll be able to coordinate yourself and bounce up. The moment you show that, when you show, or the moment you feel agitated, it can actually scatter a whole lot. It can actually, in fact, your confidence level might drop. It might, in fact, because most times when we see those kind of glitches, the truth of the matter is, if you don't talk to yourself, your confidence level will not be there. In fact, you will not be confident anymore. And you need to tell yourself that this thing can happen anytime. Just the way we are right now, it can actually happen to anyone. So please and please, when all these things happen, don't be scared. Don't be angry. Don't be frustrated. Don't get agitated. It can actually happen. And they want to see how you can actually bounce back when there are issues. Yeah, maybe it can also be a test. They might not even tell you. They want to say, okay, when there's even an issue, how can this guy, how, most time, when we talk about, when they are doing interviews with us, or for us, rather, can you work under pressure? Many of us say, yes, you can work under pressure, you can do it. That's also pressure. When such happens, how will you handle it? How can you coordinate yourself? How will you be able to, how can you, bounce back from the way you were? And they want to really know all those things. So you need to adapt yourself to whatever things that you meet during the interview session. The next is in-person interview. So now, we talked about online. Another thing I want to talk about is physical interview, this in-person interview. Yes, after after the COVID-19 issue, a lot of companies have actually moved from in-person interview to virtual interview. However, some people still do in-person interview, and I'll give you, so you can actually do some companies first, second, your first two stages can actually be virtual. And maybe when you get your first stage, you pass, your second stage, you pass, the third stage might be in-person interview. Please arrive there early. I'm going to beg, arrive there early. I'm going to give you a story, and it's about me. There was a time I went for an interview with a big telecommunication company, and sincerely, the interview, they told me the interview was by 2. And you know what I did? I left home as early as 10 o'clock because on a Saturday. And reasons why I left is because I wanted to be relaxed. And it's a place I'm not too familiar with. So please, if you're not even familiar with that place, please get there on time. If you're not familiar with that place, get there, because you don't know the route, you don't know whether there'll be traffic, whether it's traffic prone, you don't know whether it is you don't know whether anything can actually happen, maybe break down on the road. So you need to get there on time. So arrive there so that you can be relaxed. You can actually prepare yourself well. You'll not be distracted. Once you get a place late, you can't be settled. You can never be settled. So you need to get there, settled, relax. In fact, you can walk around, just make sure that you are prepared and just when you get there on time. So whether virtual or in person, be on time shows reliability. Dress professionally, dress appropriately for the company's culture, but err on the side of formality. So, there's also some companies that want you to dress corporate. Please dress corporate. Be corporately dressed. And if you have done your research about the company, if you've known about the company, please, if the company is a company that they dress corporate, please dress corporately. Now, one of the things I also see is that a lot of people also make errors while dressing. I'm sorry to say this. If you are putting on a brown shirt, please put on a brown belt. If you are putting on a black shirt, please put on a black belt. If you are putting on a check shirt, please put on a plain tie. If you are putting on a plain shirt, you can put on any tie you like, but please dress well. Don't put on check shirt, check tie, then striped trousers, and you're looking like Ghana must go. No, please, no. Dress well. Ensure that you are neatly dressed. White shirt. Most times people prefer you to put on white shirt or a sky blue shirt. If you are putting on corporate, if you're dressing corporately, put on your suit. When I mean put on your suit, let your suit be let it be clean, let it sparkle, let people see that, oh, indeed, yes, this person is, you know, this person looks good for, because at times when we go for in-person interview, it might not even be the questions alone. They are looking at, so imagine you are filling a role, imagine you are filling a senior manager role, and they're telling you, and they say, okay, we want to see the person in person, and you're putting on a coat. There's a difference between coat and suit. I don't know. Please, can anyone hear me? There's a difference between coat and suit. So don't just wear coat, because they want to see whether this person has that charisma. And from your dressing, they will know whether you have that charisma. There's the way you walk that they want to see, okay, this person walk, as in this person actually has the manager walk. I've read a book that talks about that. At times when the companies want to even promote, let me just delve a bit. When companies want to even promote, they look at the way you comport yourself, not even on the work alone, but they want to see your steps, the way you walk, so that when they even tell you, go and represent our company in a place, they want to actually see that, okay, this person can actually represent us well. So please, when you're going for interview, they are looking at those things. Your shoe should be neatly, as it should be polished. Your shoe should be polished, as in your lace should be tied, and the lace of your shoe should be well tied. And please, if you're also going for an interview, please, when you're dressed corporately, please ensure you put on a laced shoe. Don't put on this covered shoe. Please put on a laced shoe. Let it be, let it be well laced. And they want to see all those. Those are the things you need to know. Then if it's a company that they're casually dressed, that does not mean you should now wear t-shirt and jeans as well too down there. You can actually, there's something we call corporate casual. You might not wear tie, but you can put on your blazers, put on suits. You might not put on, since you've done your research about the company, you can actually put on a shirt, necessarily put on a tie, nice chinos, and you are neatly dressed. So that's what I mean by corporate casual. You can actually do that as well too. Overcoming interview nerves and practice. Overcoming interview nerves, practice, and preparation. One of the best ways to combat nerves is through preparation and practice. When you practice, you're overcoming nerves. So when you know that there's an interview that is coming up, maybe tomorrow, next tomorrow, please practice. Practice. Look for questions, Google them. Thank God we all have a smartphone here. Google them, check likely answers. And another thing I also do recently, which I also learned, you can also use AI. Let me also give you this tip. What I do is, if I see a job and it's something I like, I put the job description. After applying for the role, I put the job description. I use ChatGPT. I put the job description on ChatGPT. And when I do that, I now type, underneath, I put likely interview questions and answers for the above job description. And it will give you the likely questions and answers. So you can actually do that as well too. Use ChatGPT, use AI, that can actually help you. It might not say everything verbatim what ChatGPT is bringing, but it's giving you an idea of what the likely questions that they might ask, and also the answers. At all. Let me put it that at all. Out of what ChatGPT is going to give you, you will still see like 7, 8 questions that they will ask you at the interview ground. So you can also use ChatGPT. We ask your responses to common questions, simulate the interview scenario, and gather feedback from friends or mentors. You can also share with your friends or mentors. But in this part of the world, I know most times when we are going for interview, we don't always want to tell people because of our spiritual background. Most times, we don't know who is chasing us. We don't know this, we don't, and your bad. I'm sorry, can I speak Yoruba a bit here? Hello? Segun, can you hear me?
Fine, you can. I'm
Okay,
enjoying the flow. It's fine.
okay. So Yoruba will say that you should about you to get about people from man for all budget. So most times people don't always want to tell people, but if you trust someone, if you have a mentor that you trust, you can actually share this with the person, and the person can actually do a mock interview for you. I do that with mine. I have a boss that I generally do that with, and we sit down, we do a mock interview. It's okay. They ask you this, what are you going to say? And you know after that so much practice, I come back refreshed, and you see me at the interview confident, and that nails all those things. So the more you practice, the more confident you will feel, and that's the truth. The more you practice, the more confident you feel. If you don't practice, you're going to your confidence level will not be there. Especially when they even ask you 1 or 2 questions and you can't answer. Obviously, it's going to spoil that interview session for you. So the more you practice, it's going to give you, your confidence level will increase. Now, mindfulness and breathing techniques. So it says before the interview, practice mindfulness and breathing exercises to calm your nerves. Deep breathing and positive affirmations can help reduce anxiety and bring focus to the present moment. One of the things I also do, let me say this, it's okay for you to be nervous. Don't allow people to say they can't be nervous. It's okay for you, but how do you overcome it is what matters. One of the things I do is, before I go for an interview, or before the people that are going to interview me joins, I take, I take deep breath several times. I can do it about 10 times. I do that. I breathe up, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, because I don't want to, when they ask me one or two questions, I don't want, it's going to affect your voice. I don't want my voice to be shaking. I don't want them to see that nervousness in me. Because one of the things they're also looking at is this person confident? And once you're not confident of yourself, there are some things you'll just be saying that will not even make sense, and they'll just be looking at you. But some of them will be feeling sleepy. So you need to practice that. Mindfulness. Breathing exercise. You need to actually do that. Give each interview question your undivided attention. One of the things is you must be focused, and that's mindfulness. You must main focus. You should not be distracted, and that's why I said earlier, look for a quiet place and focus on providing your interviewer with the information they request. Whenever possible, be specific. Be specific. There's no need for you to go, to merry-go-round, beat around the bush. Just be specific about what they ask you. And when you're specific, it also helps you. Yes, at times some people say, like the company I said I went for, the top commission company I went for, there were some questions they were asking when I came out. I was sharing with one of my friends. He said they don't ask him that. He said maybe because I spoke too much. I was speaking maybe because of my own level of experience. So there were things I could speak about. So but if you know you can't speak about some things and defend them, don't delve into it. Just be specific. Please be specific. Share examples and data to highlight rather how well you have performed in past roles. Yes, they want to see that. They want to see your achievements. Share data of what you've done, on your in different roles you've handled. They want to know things like, okay, so I'm going to still use logistics as an example. So let me put, for example, when I was in Quick, I'm going to be using Quick because Shego can actually relate with this.
Yeah.
And when I was in Quick, I remember when I joined Quick, that role was the role. In fact, I think in fact, I was a pioneer of that particular role, and whereby you bring in assets to the business, and because the business back then was operating on we were basically asset light. We're operating basically with third party logistics. That's what I mean by third party logistics. Are people who have their own assets. You know, the company again was not ready to buy its own assets. So we're actually leveraging on people, partners with different assets. And one of the things one of them I'm going, and when I came in, because my role was to bring in assets, and we grew at that point in time, and I put that in my CV. So many times people are asking me, I tell them, okay, I met social number of assets, and I was able to grow these assets to this social number, and that makes the social percentage of what I met. So that is specific. That is one of my achievements. And when they ask, okay, so how were you able to you know coordinate all these people? I was able to also relate with what I've done. I tell them one of the things we do is we do constant trainings for the riders, for the drivers. We do constant training for the riders. We do constant training for the drivers. We also do constant training for the partners. So so when they're asking me those things, I'm specific, and I'm also telling them my achievement on all those roles. Okay, how do you check the background check? I'll be able to tell. In fact, most times I tell them, okay, these were the things we do, or we did. These were the things we did rather. When I was there, these were the things we did in ensuring that they comply to our standard. And so another person can also ask that, okay, how are you able to handle churn rates? That, okay, brothers that are not that they come online, they don't work, they don't come out to your orders because they are not your asset. Then I tell them things we did, things policies we put in place. There's something we call loyalty fee, whereby when you meet some certain numbers of orders, we give you money to encourage you to be on our platform. So you're like, okay, yes, indeed, this person is experienced in what he's talking about. So you should be specific. Also, show data when you're telling them things about your previous roles or even the present role you presently occupy.
Jimmy, I
Another
really
thing,
enjoyed this conversation, but you
thank
spent
you
over
so much.
30 minutes.
Oh,
So,
I'll
yes,
make it fast. So
okay,
another thing is,
but
don't come across as arrogant. Yes, it's good to be confident, but please don't be arrogant. So while it is essential to exude confidence during your interview, you don't want to come across as cocky or entitled. And arrogance will alienate the interviewer and damage your chances of being hired. At times, let me also say this to us. Most times, the best candidate is not with the hire at times. And when I mean best candidate is this: the person might know everything, as in might know everything, good at the questions, answers, make it good. But they might be saying some subtle things in that person. And that's why I talked about behavior. They might be looking at, okay, is this person, are we sure that when this person comes on board, are we sure this person will comply to our company's culture? Those things are valid. They want to see that, okay, if this person is coming on board. So kindly mute. Is anybody talking? Kindly mute. They want to see that, will this person adjust to our company's culture? Yeah, good. All the questions asked, perfect. You answered them well, neatly dressed. But you're looking at some other things that, okay, are we sure that if the person comes on board, is not someone that will bring people's heads and jam together? Can this person receive feedback? Those are the things. So when you sound like someone who is cocky, obviously, someone who is cocky will not want change. Someone who is cocky rather will be rigid. Someone who is cocky, I'm sorry, someone who is cocky will not be flexible. So they want to look at all those things. So you should not sound like someone who is arrogant. You should not sound like someone who is entitled. Yes, confident, as in you should be confident. You should show your confidence level. It should be sound. Everything should. But please don't sound like someone who is cocky. Don't sound like someone who is arrogant. Arrogance will alienate the interviewer and damage your chances of being hired. Don't forget that you are good, but they are looking at all those things as well too. In fact, according to a survey of hiring managers, 76% of respondents say they would reject a candidate who is arrogant. Have you heard? They will reject a candidate who is arrogant. That means not that the person is not good, but because they've seen that arrogance in him, they will say, "Oh, I can't deal with this kind of person." Obviously, if there's the change, this person will drag us back. Obviously, we say you should do this person will not listen to us. They want someone that we adapt to the company's culture. They want someone who will comply the company's culture. They want someone who will, who is able to listen to feedback from colleagues, from subordinates, from top management. So they are looking at someone like that. The framing perspective, instead of viewing the interview as daunting assessment, we frame it as a conversation. Another thing I want to beg every one of us tonight is, please don't be scared. People that are going to interview you are also humans. Make it a conversation. Let me give you. I'm going to give you a physical. I'm going to be referring to the telecommunication company I talked about. When I got in, in fact, I've never seen that kind of table before. It was a table. It was like a conference table, and I met five, as in five old men. As in, these are men that are not my age mate, men in their 50s. And it got to a point. Do you know they left the questions they were asking me. It became, you know, questions about myself. They were asking me, what does your wife do? I told them, they said, wow. In fact, one of them said, what's the full meaning of your name? The person was interested in my name. And that was how we turned into conversation and we gisted. In fact, in fact, they called me till the final stage. So what I'm simply saying is, let's make it a conversation. Don't agitate. Don't be scared. People interviewing are humans. Remember, the company is as interested in getting to know you as you are in showcasing your skills. Approach it as an opportunity to share your experiences and learn about the company's culture. So please approach it as an opportunity to share your experience. Share your experience. Don't make it a one-side interview. You can actually relate with them. talk to them, converse, and you communicate, and learn about the company's culture as well too. So I'm trying to be fast because I know
Please,
I've
time.
sparked.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Apologies. So be prepared to talk about the salary. Here's one of the things I would like to talk about is, please talk about salary. Talk about salary, but please don't also, when you're talking about salary, give a range. But before you give a range, find out what the company pays. A lot of us we shortchange ourselves. We don't know, and so because we don't know, we just call a figure. Alright. And let me tell you a secret. HRs, most times, part of their KPI is to cut salary. In case you don't know today. So, for example, if a role is giving 500,000 naira, as in that's what the company has set aside for this particular role and this particular level, and you get there and you tell them 350, the HR will still negotiate. Oh. He will negotiate and negotiate about 300. To that HR, he has met or he has met his KPI because he has cut cost. But please, before you go, look for, if you can't find anybody in that company, look out for what they pay within that industry. Please, look out for what they pay within that industry. Now give a range. Okay, if it's 500K, you don't know where it's another pot. In case you find out that, okay, it's 500K, okay, what I'll be doing is, I'll give a range. I'll be doing within between 500 to 800. That's the range I'm going to be giving net. And please also know the difference between net and gross. I don't know that we know the difference between net and gross. Most times, many people down say 500. You know that is gross, and they say, okay, 500, fine. You get to be happy that they give me 500. When they pay your first salary, you say that they are paying like 350 because you don't negotiate whether it's net or gross. Now, net is your take home. Net is your take home. Gross is the other thing. Gross is everything. Your pension, your pension. In fact, some people
HMO,
also put, sorry, exactly, your HM also do
taxes.
exactly your tax exactly. So you are saying 500, maybe like you are going to be 350 because they removed all those things. But when you tell them 500 net, some people will tell that one of the foreign companies will tell you that you should give them annual gross. Annual gross. Most multinationals will tell you do annual gross. Please, I want to beg you, when you're doing annual gross, do your research well to know what to ask for. So that when you're even taking anything away, it's still going to amount to what you desire to take home. So please give a range. Do you understand? So one of the most common and difficult questions to answer in job interviews is what are your salary requirements? And if you can't give them, what they are scared of them, tell them, okay, presently my role, I take home, my take home basically presently in my role is 400,000 naira. So someone that is even offering you like I want to supply like 400,000 naira knows that this person is higher than our budget. So he would not come and tell you that I want to collect, you want to come and take 400,000 naira. So that means the person should know within himself or herself that I need to give this person about 600K upwards. So those are the things you also. Last, I want to say that first, try to avoid giving a specific number. Like I said, instead say something like I'm open to negotiation based on job response. We can also do that. If you can't, if you feel like you don't want to give that particular if you want to give the salary, your salary expectation as well too. But some people will force you, but in case they force you, give a range, please. Then the aftermath, follow-up etiquette, send a thank you note. Please, when you finish, when you do an interview with people or with that respective company, please just send a mail. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to have an interview with the company. That speaks volume. So we didn't find out post interview, send a personalized thank you email to the interviewer or interviewers. Express gratitude for the opportunity, reiterate the interest, and briefly highlight a point of discussion from the interview. So you cannot. I personally, one of the things I also do to myself is at the end of the interview, I tell them, I ask them that, okay, that how will you rate me? How will you rate this interview? And some of them will be open to tell you. Some of them that are sorry, I can't tell you until you will know whether you get to the next stage. So you can, some people can, but please ask as well too. Now, patience is virtue. After the interview, maintain patience. Companies might take time to deliberate and make decisions. It takes some people will take about 1 year, 2 years. It depends on the company. Some will take months, some will take just a week, some will get back to you within 2 weeks. It depends on that company. So please just be patient. Just just send mails. Don't bombard them with mails. You can just ask for follow-up mails and the like the commission company I was talking about. I didn't get the role, and I'll give you why I didn't get the role. But out of 12 of us, it was a first stage interview. It was a first stage, and I was getting to the we were two they picked. And why I didn't get the role was because the chairman of the company called off the role. In fact, the only thing that was made was just an offer letter, or just to give me an offer letter. So but and how did I get to know was because I had to follow up that okay, sir. In fact, the other person, because we exchanged contacts, the other person not even, I was not giving the information because they were looking for four people, but we were two that they picked. And I had to tell him because I was following, and the director just told me that I'm so sorry, the chairman called off the role. And that was why he didn't get that role. So you need to follow up politely. If the specified timeline passes, expressing your continued interest in follow up and also show your interest in that particular role. Conclusion: as we move forward this year, the job market might evolve, but the fundamentals of a successful interview remain rooted in preparation, confidence, and authenticity. So please and please be prepared, be confident, and also show that authenticity as well. So use these strategies, especially when overcoming interview nerves, to stand out in today's competitive landscape and secure the career opportunity you deserve. Let me read that part. Use these strategies, especially when overcoming interview nerves, to stand out in today's competitive landscape and secure the career opportunity you deserve. On this note, I would like to say thank you.
Wow, wow,
Thank you so
wow.
much.
Thank you so much, Jimmy. In fact, I even read a slide also, to kind of like join to some of the points that you mentioned. But in fact, you have done justice to this topic. Even what I have, is just a little bit of support to what you have. Thank you so much. You can stop sharing your screen now so that I
Oh,
can,
okay.
yes, share my
All
screen.
right. All right.
Yeah,
All
so but
right.
just to reiterate some of the points that you said, ask questions. That's another thing I do because you need to be prepared for the interview. Then research the company. For example, if you are, for me, I'll talk about customer service roles. If you're applying for maybe a customer service leadership, download the app of the company, visit their website, look at it, let them know that, oh, I went to your website, I noticed that you don't have this, you don't have this. So immediately you're asking questions like that, they already know that this person has already done the research about the company. Then also, I always like to ask questions. For me, another important question I ask at the end of an interview is that I would say, in the next 30 days or in the next 60 days, what are your expectations for me in this role? Do you understand? That is a very excellent question to ask because you don't want to get a job and start a job and you're not clear on what the KPIs are or what is expected of you. So immediately you're asking that type of question that, okay, what are the expectations in the next 30 days or in the next 60 days on this role? Okay, you're already getting clear expectations of what the role is about. And even you, when you start the job, you're already self-appraising yourself whether you are doing well or not. So please always ask questions. And even if you don't remember any question to ask, please always ask this one I just told you. That in the next 30 days or 60 days, what are your expectations for me in this role? It's very important because it already shows forward thinking. It shows that okay, you're already seeing yourself as part of the company and you are ready to learn. So I want to share my screen quickly, and I wanted to talk a little bit more about the STAR method. So Jumi already mentioned that already, talking about different. Let me know if you can see my screen. The different you know interview styles that you could use. So elevated pitch, you already talked about that. So please, everybody should have their elevated pitch ready. Okay, make sure that you have, and I like the point he made too. Don't talk about your primary school and all that. Start from your last educational background and your experiences. He also said that I like your achievements. Do you understand? I like the point that he made when he talked about when he was in quick delivery. Because yes, he did grow the number of fleets that we had from a particular number to a particular number before he left. So he needs to highlight that achievement because he's the one that did that work. You understand? So those are some of the achievements that I have. For me as a customer service person, if I was able to improve the customer satisfaction survey from a particular number to a particular number, I'm supposed to state that. If I was able to increase the usage of the platform from a particular period to a particular period, I'm supposed to state that. So those are the metrics that you should quickly say in your elevated pitch. So now talking about the STAR method, the situation, the task, the action, and results. This is a very good strategy. I found it on YouTube when I was researching how to answer interview question, and I've been using it ever since. So I'll just make a quick example of an experience that I have so that you can use that in your own interview. So now, if they tell us that, they can ask a question and say, tell us the situation you had at work that was a difficult situation and how you were able to resolve it. First is the situation. So I'll give an example. In quick delivery, we had a situation where customers' orders were being debited and they were not getting value. That is, they debited from their card and they were not getting value for the transaction. That was the situation. The tax, customer service supervisor, is my responsibility to resolve that issue. What am I going to do? The first thing I had to do was that I had to rearrange my team because a lot of customers were calling in to complain and were not a lot of people on the staff. So I needed to quickly draft an email communication out to say, okay, let us send a message to let them know what is happening. The email now, I can't send it on my own. I had to go to marketing to say, please help us put out a communication, letting customers know that this is what is happening and their responses may be delayed because we're trying to resolve this issue. So that's the tact. I'm already taking an action. The action is rearranging my team, sending a message to customer to know what is happening and letting them know that results, feedbacks may be delayed as a result of the problem. Do you understand? So as a result, we were able to manage the situation that is customers were informed about what happened. I rearranged the team because I put more people on call to attend to them and let them know that this is the issue that is happening. Responses may be delayed and they may get responses within 48 hours instead of 24. Do you understand? So now you need to think like that. That is, you have identified the situation, you created a task for you to do, you did a particular action, and what was the result? And as a result, you let them know that at the end of the day, we're able to respond to all customers' inquiries in so and no time, and all customers' issues on that particular issue was resolved because of our proactive communication. So that's just like a rough example of what you can do. But based on your own current role, maybe you're a customer service professional, maybe you're an email support analyst, that's the way you should think, because that's what they want to hear. So like you already mentioned is maintaining strong eye contact, be professional and all that. So part of what I do in Career Next Level is that I offer one-on-one interview coaching, mock interview sessions, because sometimes you do need that help. You need somebody that can help you to analyze the situation professionally, give you that professional setting, ask you the tough questions. And I like the point that Jimmy also made that use ChatGPT. Like he said, it may not give you all the answers, but to put you on the right step. Because by the time you put in the job description, automatically it will generate similar questions that they will most likely ask you. And you can prepare for that. Do you understand? So interview needs preparation. Most of the time, people just wing it. In this job market, you cannot wing it because the competition is very stiff. There are a lot of very qualified and experienced people that are vying for the same job. So you need to practice. You need to practice, practice, and practice. So if you want a mock interview, if an interview is coming up and you need a mock interview, you need somebody that can help you analyze it. You can reach out to me. I offer some of those services. And for other people to maybe, you are just even rethinking this whole career thing, and you need to review your CV, you need a cover letter. We also offer that too. LinkedIn optimization is also something we do. I think during the last two sessions, we had someone come on, Jonathan Abel. He spoke to us extensively about the importance of LinkedIn, how we can use it to optimize our job search. I also do LinkedIn optimization too. Job application support. I have a support group on WhatsApp where I post job, and if people have maybe a job application, I have questions on what they're asking. Job application support is also available. I also do that. And lastly, speaking engagements too. If maybe in your church or in your community or in your workplace, you need somebody that can come and speak to people about career development, training, and all that. I also offer those services too. Do you understand? So that's one of the reasons why I'm putting this webinar together. It's just to inspire us, about our job search, letting us have the necessary tools and equipment that we can need to, do well in our chosen fields or in the career that we want to choose. Because right now, as I said, there's a lot of competition out there and we need to really do something to stand ourselves out. So yes, I really wanted us to close within less than an hour. So basically, that is what we have for you in today's webinar. Thank you all so much for staying up to this time. And most especially, a big shout out and thank you to my co-host, Jimmy Falade. Thank you so much for making out the time. It's really appreciated. And for those that maybe missed the session, not to worry. This is being recorded. Let me stop the recording.